Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be making Greek yogurt. If you do not like Greek yogurt, you can just skip the straining process at the end and just have regular yogurt, so there's no problem. I'm going to use a whole milk. You can use non-fat milk. You can use 2% milk. I've tried all of them but whole milk. Whole milk will probably be a little bit creamier, so I wanted to give that a try. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to add the milk to the pan. We're going to heat that up to 180 degrees. I have a thermometer here. You're going to want it like a candy thermometer because they go up to higher temperatures than, say, just a little like meat thermometer like this. This doesn't go up high enough, so you need something like this. And then also the cultures. You can use regular cultures that you can purchase, or you can buy some yogurt that has live active cultures in it. This one is a Fage. It's a whole milk Fage. It's excellent for making yogurt. They also have a 2% that you're welcome to use. I have never used the 0%. I don't know how well that would be, but as long as the live culture's in there, it should be fine. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to heat up the milk. Now, the cultures that you want to use are at least probably about a quarter cup if you're going to use a whole gallon of milk. I'm only going to use a half a gallon of milk because I'm kind of experimenting with whole milk and a new proofing box that I have. So I just want to see how it's going to turn out before I commit a whole gallon of milk to that. You're also going to need an area where you can keep the temperature over 90 degrees. I've seen people heat up their ovens. Some ovens go low enough where you could keep that on. You could try turning the light on in your oven and keeping a thermometer in there to see if it can at least maintain a 90-degree temperature. If it's hot, it's the summertime, and you have a basement or a garage or maybe even upstairs, I guess it would be better than a basement. I typically can make it all summer long in my garage without having to use a proofing box or any electrical devices whatsoever. If it's hot outside, as long as it's a covered area, you want to keep a good warm, I should say hot temperature in order for it to have a nice ferment process, which typically for me I found about 12 hours. So we're going to get started on the milk, heating the milk to 180 degrees, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I have it on a low temperature. I have my candy thermometer sitting here so I can keep an eye on the temperature. I have a little wooden spoon so I can stir it on occasion because you don't want milk to curdle or get stuck on the bottom. It's very important. So we just stir it every once in a while. If it's on low enough temperature, you should be okay. I have 8 cups of milk in here. Like I said, you can use a gallon if that's what you prefer. I'm sure it'll turn out just fine. And we're going to let this go until it reaches temperature, and we'll be right back. Okay, so throughout this process, I went ahead and used the whisk here just so that you don't get a layer of film on top, which typically can happen when you are warming milk. I started it on a low and then I moved it up gradually as it started to warm. I gradually heated the temperature a little bit higher, and now we're at 180 degrees. You can go up to 195 and you're still safe. We're going to go ahead and we're going to transfer this, turn this off, take our thermometer off so it doesn't drown. And then we're going to transfer this over here into a cold bath. If you have time to let it sit all day or you want to run out, then be my guest. I have cold water in here, and you can also add ice if you're in a hurry to get this cooled off. We want to cool it down to 115 degrees before we add our cultures. Okay, so we dropped our temperature down. It only took about 15 minutes. I added 1 tray of ice to some cold water in the sink, and it cooled us down to 115, so we're ready to go. I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of these cultures in here because I like mine a little more sour. So the more the merrier. And because just for precautions, kind of, maybe 3. Okay, that'll be good. And then I'm going to remove this. And then we're going to take our whisk. And we are going to whisk this in really good to our milk. Now that we have this the culture is thoroughly whisked into our milk, we're going to go ahead and let it sit. Now, this is what I want to talk about. This is very important. You do not move the milk in the whatever jars or containers you're using. Do not move it the entire time because you will ruin it. I don't know why that happens, but it will. So I'm going to cover this with a lid, and I'm going to place it in my proofing box, which I'll show you. And we already talked about, trying to find at least a 90-degree temperature for a good consistent amount of time. I usually do it for 12 hours, so I'm going to go ahead and do that this time. I will be keeping an eye on it. When you barely jiggle it like this, you'll notice it just moves as one whole piece. Then you're good to go. It's done. It's set up. Okay, so here we go. Okay, now I want to show you guys this because this is a game changer for me. It's called a proofing box. I got it on Amazon. I will have a link below, so please purchase it from there. It'll help me out. It'll help you out. And I'm hoping that this works. I've been using this to proof my bread, which I've had wonderful results with. It's also to ferment the yogurt, probably cheeses, other things like that you want to make. It's called a proofing box. I think it's Brad and Taylor. And what you do is you set it to whatever temperature you want, and it uses very little electricity. I already checked it on my meter for that too. I set this at 90 degrees. I put my yogurt in here with the lid on. And then what we do is we take this and we put this on top, and it stays at a consistent degrees to keep everything working fine. Wait, here. Yeah, there we go. Is that all right? Make sure that's in perfect. Okay, I'm going to let this sit. I'm going to keep an eye on it at least 10 to 12 hours, maybe even sooner, but that's what I'm shooting for. I'm going to check it probably after about 5 hours, jiggle it just a little bit, see how it's turning out, and then we'll go from there. So we'll see you soon. I want to mention how important this was. A good friend of mine sent it to me. I was only able to make the yogurt during the summer when it was really hot. I didn't want to leave my oven running for a really, really long time just so that I can make yogurt. It is a lot less expensive to make your own yogurt. A whole gallon makes a couple containers. A gallon of milk costs $3 to $5. So it is the best way to do it. And it's also better for you. So I really encourage you to get one of these. That way, like for me, I'm going to be able to make yogurt all year long now. I have a lot of friends that like yogurt, so I share my yogurt with my friends. This one is actually going to be a Christmas gift for a young friend of mine. So I just wanted to mention that, and I hope that you get it, and I hope that you like it. I love it. So that's all I want to say. Good morning, everybody, and today we are going to check on our yogurt that we had sitting all night long. I put it in this box at 12:30 in the morning. I'm on a baker's schedule, it appears. At 4:30 in the morning, I checked it, and it was not set up at all. That's 4 hours, which is the recommendation of the box instructions. I wasn't planning on following those instructions, but I was just curious, so I checked it at 4:30 in the morning. It was completely liquid. So I woke up this morning. I checked it about 10 o'clock in the morning. It was set up nice. There's a little bit of foam on top from using the whisk because sometimes I don't know my own strength and I get a little too aggressive with things, but it's ready. It's set. We're going to pull it out of here and show it to you. Oh, I also want to mention, I had it at 90 degrees, and at 4:30 in the morning, I checked in there. It didn't feel quite as warm as I'm used to the temperature being for that. So I pumped it up to 100 degrees and left it at 100 degrees the rest of the night. So for 4 hours, I had it at 90 degrees, and then I went to 100 degrees for the rest of the time. So that's okay. It's just experimenting and testing this out. So we're going to go ahead and take the lid off, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. There's some condensation on the lid. You just want to get rid of that. You don't want to add that back in. And if you can see, it's a bit like Jell-O. So it kind of moves all as one piece. And there's a little bit of foam on top. You want it to be all one piece. That's how you know that your yogurt is done. So we're going to go ahead and pull that out, and we're going to put it in a strainer, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so what I typically do is I take a bucket, and I take a colander, and I put it on top of here. And then, I can't find it at the moment, but I took an old t-shirt that was cleaned. It was not used with any harsh detergents or softeners or anything. I just washed it with a little bit of Dawn soap in the sink and rinsed it out and let it dry. And then what I do is I put it over the top of this. And then I take a rubber band and I put it so that it's really taut. You could also use a cheesecloth, or I bought this at Home Depot. It's a paint strainer, and it worked out really nicely. As you can see, it's almost like a little cap. And I would just place this over the top of this, and that worked well. So, like I said, you put it over the top of this, and then the rubber band sits along here, and it sits at the top here. And then you pour the yogurt on top, and you slowly move it around with a spoon to get the liquid out of it. And then what ends up in here is all the extra whey. This is if you want to make Greek. If you don't want to make Greek, you can eat the yogurt just as it is after it's been refrigerated. So this is for making the Greek part. So this is the whey, and when I do it the whey, you can make muffins with it. I fed it to my plumeria plants because they really like that acidity. So you can give it to your plants. It's really good for them. But I'm going to show you an easier way, thanks to a good friend of mine. I found this on Amazon. I'm going to show you the box. It looks like this. We're going to try it out for the first time so you guys get to be excited with us. So this is perfect for this. You can make tzatziki, yogurt, whatever you want that needs to be strained. It looks like they have cheese on here as well. It's by Euro Cuisine. I'll have a link below, like I said. And this is going to be our first time trying it out. Looks like this. We have the strainer, very, very fine mesh here. And then it looks like it holds 12 cups, so we should be good for a gallon of milk, assuming it doesn't spill over here. Okay. And then, so what we're going to do is we're going to pour the yogurt in here. We're going to put the lid on it. And then we're going to put it in the refrigerator for as long as we need. As you're straining your yogurt, if it can be in the refrigerator for hours to strain. If you find that your yogurt ends up turning to be more like cheese, because the more whey you strain out of it, the thicker and denser it becomes, like the Greek yogurt. If it becomes too dense because you've left it in there too long, you can take some of the whey and you can mix it back in, and it'll loosen up your yogurt a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and pour this in here. We have a bit stuck to the bottom too. You can see that yogurt there. This is more liquidy than I would like it to be. I think the next time I try the bread box, I am going to start out at 100 degrees, at least, maybe even 110, and let it sit from there. So with this in here, I'm going to put the lid on here. As you can see, it's already starting to perspirate through the bottom there. We're just going to keep an eye on it, put it in the fridge, check on it after an hour or two, see how it's doing, and then we'll be back. I'm back, and we're going to check out our yogurt. It's been sitting in the refrigerator for about 6 hours. We're going to check this out. It's been 6 hours, like I said, and partway through, I went ahead, as you can see on the bottom there's the whey. It's really liquidy, and I poured that out because I didn't want to have it overflow back into the yogurt. So we're going to take a look at it now. Wow, it's so creamy looking. Looks amazing. I'm usually used to doing this with a 2% or a non-fat milk. I've never tried whole milk. This is a gift, so I wanted to give it a try. It looks so creamy. It looks like whipped cream, actually. I mean, look at this. Look at how amazing that is. That looks so good. It's, look at that. I mean, it looks like whipped cream. It's crazy. So I went ahead and I scraped along here partway through the sitting process in the refrigerator just to make sure I could get as much of the whey out as possible because I really wanted the Greek yogurt. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer it into a nice little jar and give it to a friend as a gift. And then I like to keep a little left over too because my dog has it for breakfast because he needs probiotics so that he doesn't get itchy. And I need probiotics and you need probiotics. And I hope that yours turned out as well as mine did. This was so fun to make. I'm so happy I can make it year round now. I'm going to go ahead and do a gallon again this weekend. This was a half gallon, but it turned out so good that I'm going to go ahead and make a gallon so I have a lot for the whole week. And Merry Christmas to everybody. Christmas is in 2 days. So I hope you guys have a great weekend and get to spend time with your families and your friends. And the weather's not impairing anything crazy. We have rain here in California, which is amazing. We have rain. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for future videos. But anyways, take care, you guys, and I'll see you next time.